Every time I see y'all on my timeline, I'm following because I think you guys are funny, but I never understand why the fuck is that y'all name?
So we were dating on the low for a little bit, and it was obviously his decision, and he didn't want people to know, so we were like softly, like when we decided that we were like, okay, people can know, we were like slowly doing it. And then I posted a picture once, and I was like, "It's giving soft launch." And then we were like, we should do a podcast. And I was like, we should just name it Soft Launch.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I also want to clarify. She put the he in there real hard. We wanted to keep it low because we were working in this, and like, there's such a stigma around comedians dating each other. Like, as soon as you get into the game, the first thing they tell you is like, "Oh, don't date another comedian. It's bad for business." So we took our time. She put that he in there real hard.
I was just being the cool girl. I was like, it's totally fine. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody about us.
Well, no, we were dating for a minute, and then we soft launched, and then that's why we decided to name the podcast.
Yeah, it was literally, we named it because we were like brushing our teeth in the bathroom, and then we were like, what should we name it? And then we were just like Soft Launch. I'm like, that's actually a good.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So how is it dating another comedian?
I love it.
We love it.
I love it. I think.
You guys are both Puerto Rican?
Yeah, both Puerto Rican.
We're both half Puerto Rican.
Yeah, she's half Puerto Rican, half Italian. I'm half Puerto Rican, half Cuban.
Oh, wow.
And I love it personally because, like I said, when you get into comedy, all they say is to not date a comic.
Everybody.
But, for me, when I started, I was dating somebody who wasn't a comic, and it's very hard to communicate because the comedy hours are nuts.
Are wild.
Because our work hours happen in everybody's leisure hours. Our job can't exist unless people have free time. And, when I'm giving all my free time to something, like the person I was dating was working a 9 to 5, so they wanted to chill and I had to work.
Right.
And that's a very tough sell. And it's much easier when we both work on the same schedule.
Yeah, and it's cool because we're both super passionate about comedy and we talk about it all the time. I cannot imagine someone being okay with me being like, because he'll be like, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, this joke, like in the middle of anything. So I just feel like it's good because I can't imagine someone being cool with them as much as we talk about it.
You guys speak the same language.
Yeah, and the best part, honestly, is when we don't like somebody or when I hate somebody at work, I don't have to explain who that person is to Samantha because she already, it's like, because when you want, this fucking bitch at work, but she knows this bitch at work.
Yeah.
So I don't have to explain why she just knows exactly what I'm talking about, and the shit talking gets real deep, and it's really, really.
Or when like I'm on to somebody before he is, I'm like, okay, watch. And then he's like, you know what? You were right.
You were right. Yeah.
She
I
is
love
sneaky.
You were right moment. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
That happens so often where Samantha is right. Yeah, that's a lot. That's part of it.
I think so too.
Intuition.
Yeah.
It is. It's super true.
It's strong.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, I feel like the way Cat Williams set up the year is it's going to be a great year for comedy.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Cat is one of the greatest to ever do it. I love Cat. He's the GOAT. And then comedy, I feel like now in general with social media, I feel like stand-up comedy is cooler than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So you're seeing an influx of people trying it. You're seeing an influx of people doing it and posting it. Because usually it's like it's reserved for the weirdos and like the outcasts, people who like it's funny to watch them talk. But now you get a lot of quote unquote cool people trying it, so it's in a whole different space. I think it's very cool.
Even with the cool people trying it, it's like, all right, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe just the skits. I like the skits, but I don't really like
your on stage shit. Yeah, I get that.
Different.
Yeah, it is. But comedy with stand up is very specific, and there's so many different forms of comedy. Like there's hilarious like sketch makers or writers who are not necessarily great on stage, and I know for a fact there's a bunch of very funny stand-ups who can't make content to save their lives
at all.
It's just a different skill.
It's so crazy. We'll see like some of our favorites.
Our funniest friends.
Post like, a sketch, and I'm like, you missed the bar completely.
Yeah. It doesn't always translate.
It doesn't, some people just, they're better at writing their story or like whatever, but like when they're doing sketches, it's just a different muscle.
Yeah.
And they just, they miss the mark.
Yeah, something that stand-ups
nobody
always
watches
do.
This and figures out who we're talking about.
No, I could be talking about so many people because you just watch. Oh my God, it's bad. And our shit doesn't always hit. But the thing with comedy that stand-ups always do, especially old school stand-ups, they always try to belittle like internet comedy and sketch comedy and like content comedy when they can't do that. It's a different skill. Like Drewski is one of the funniest people doing it in the game, period. Drewski's not a stand-up, but he doesn't have to be because he's hysterical. What he does,
he's one of the funniest.
If you think I can do what Drewski does, you're out of your mind. Or if you think like it's just a whole different muscle.
I feel like what Drewski is doing is like more acting.
Yeah.
Leaning into like characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's acting, but there's still writing chops in there. You still gotta be funny. You gotta know how to communicate things to people. So it's all comedy. It's just different.
It's just different, yeah. Because a lot of comedy is also observational, and he's king of that.
Oh my God.
And he's so good. I mean, he probably could do stand up.
He probably would be great.
And always on time. Always on time.
The thing with Drewski now, like if he never does stand up, he's always gonna be legendary because he's too big to to do stand up comedy. You have to have a space to grow. Drewski's too big to grow.
Yeah.
Because if Drewski announced he's going on tour today, he's gonna sell out.
He would sell out
Sell out all over
immediately.
the world. Be one of the hottest comedy tours. But like, you can't get really good at stand up comedy if you're already having an audience that loves you and will fuck with you no matter what you do. That's why it was tough.
True,
I mean,
'cause
T.I.
it's really hard to do stand up.
It's hard,
Like,
and you have to learn different
yeah.
people. And if you have people already regurgitating that you're so funny, they love you, you never get to
too
learn
much.
what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, it's like having, on a smaller scale, it's like having people that we know, like, come see us when we weren't ready. And
exactly.
then it's like,
At my first couple shows, so many of my people pulled up. And I was crushing because all my people knew my humor. They wanted to see me win, and they were hyped to be there. But then you start doing shows where you don't know anybody there. Maybe then you find out. You find out what's good. Like, we've done shows in Connecticut for 70-year-old white people.
Yeah.
What's funny to them is not funny to the same thing as people in Brooklyn. But you learn how to bridge that gap and make whatever you're talking about universally funny. And you can't do that if you're so big already. Juicy doesn't need stand-up. He's already past it. He's funny in his own right, and he doesn't need the stage in that way.
So how did you both? I want to hear stories. Like, how did you guys get started with comedy? What was your introduction?
You want to go first, Boo?
So my introduction to comedy was like in my early 20s. I saw Cypher Sounds used to do like a comedy improv show that was like 3 blocks from where I grew up. So I went and saw it, and I was like, I think it was improv, but I had never seen any type of comedy, and I was like, I think I could do this. And then, I didn't do it. I was dating a guy who was like, you're not funny. And I was like, okay. And like, you're like when you're 23, you don't have, you have like no sense of self really. So I was like, okay, if the person I'm closest to doesn't think I'm funny, then I'm probably not. But, it was like an itch that I like would keep like avoiding and everything. And then, the pandemic happened, and I started like really trying to figure out what it is that I wanted. And I started doing sketches, and they started blowing up. And then I was like, oh, I think I am funny. Like all those years, like it took a while for me to like really believe it. And then a comic reached out to me, Shadi Diaz, and she was like, you're really funny. I think you should get on stage. And I was like, yeah, I want to. And she got on the phone with me, like didn't know me, got on the phone with me, and was like, I'll put you on a show. And it was like the pandemic, so it was an outdoor show. January 2021, ice all over the floor, snow all over the floor. Wow. And I did a show in Astoria Park, my first show. And it was like, I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I want to do. And like, it took me some time to like fully dive into it because it's so scary. And also at the time, I was like, I didn't know where to go or what to do. And then, once I like figured it out and I like met like our core people that were like, no, you got to do this. And it was just like balls to the wall since then.
That's so fire. I love the fact that it's a girl who
called me. Yeah. It's so dope. And like, she didn't have, like, we didn't know each other at all.
Not from a
she just saw a sketch and was like, I think you're really cool. And it was like a New York sketch. So she was she's a New York girl. So she was like, I think you're real. I think you have it. And literally we were on the phone for like 45 minutes, which is super out of character for me because I'm like, I'm shy. Like I don't usually do those kind of things, but it was some.
Shy?
I know it doesn't come off that way.
No, she say all her crazy anxious thoughts she saves for me. Like if she's out and she's gonna give comfortable, she's gonna give confident, and then we'll get home. She'll be like, I wonder if everybody hates me.
Yeah, I'll go home and I'm like, that interaction was bad, and he's like, what? I think they liked you. I'm like, I think they hated me.
Yeah,
and then I'll start crying. It's a day.
What are your signs?
I'm a Scorpio. I know, I don't give Scorpio.
That's not Scorpio.
I know.
Drake would never do that.
I'm Aquarius rising, and I think I read that somewhere in there.
Okay.
But I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah, me neither.
I love Aquarius.
Yeah.
We're polar opposites, but that's why I love it.